Cool. All right, guys. So welcome to Unzip. I'm here with
Treezy. What's up? How y'all
Treezy.
doing?
And so I just kind of want to dissect your mind, man. I want to see like how you fell in this.
Yeah.
Some people call it rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I want to know like exactly how this happened, where it stemmed from.
Okay. All right. I feel like my whole life I was always kind of like a radical individual. You know what I mean? Like I always had like radical political views. And it wasn't until like I got to high school and like I kind of had like a little thing with psychedelics for a while. They kind of like made me like kind of like explore things. That's how I got into philosophy. And then like through philosophy, I got really into philosophy. Like I started reading people like Kant and Marx and Hegel and stuff like that. And through that, I started reading Marx, and that's how I got into like Marxism.
Right.
Yeah, and like it's kind of like it's like a developmental thing though. You know what I mean? Because like when you like are like a Marxist and like when you follow like socialism, you learn every day. You know what I mean? Like there's always something that you're learning. Like we follow like a principle called like self-criticism, meaning that we always kind of like we're always developing, meaning we criticize each other. You know what I mean? And like you know what I mean? Like I used to hold like views that I see backwards. Even like a year or two ago, you know what I mean? So like, but I've probably been a Marxist for at least 3 years now, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's been a process, you know what I mean?
So if you don't mind me, okay. So do you treat this kind of like the Old Testament and the New Testament, where like you believe, like does Marxism develop every day, or do you go by what was?
Okay, no, actually that's a really good question. So no, it develops every day. Okay. So Marx, when he was writing, before like Marxism was an ideology, we had like just socialism, right? And there was like a variant of these people called like utopian socialists, meaning that they really didn't like, they were called utopian socialists, like Marx called them this, because they believed in a socialist society that was probably was like inevitable because capitalism was flawed, but they had no real way to build it, right? So Marx called his thing scientific socialism, meaning that like we understand like our society first of all through a materialist understanding, meaning that like the economic underpinnings of society play into the structure of as a whole of society. And it's I know it's a little complicated, but I'm gonna make it as simple as possible. So because it's not a dogma. Example, like Mao has a book called Opposed Book Worship. Like example, Marx said that socialism was gonna happen in the first world, but it didn't. The first place socialism happened was in backwards Russia, like feudal Russia, and that's because Lenin, using our method that we use, it's called dialectical materialism. It's like our science, right? He analyzed the conditions of Russia, and he said, you know what? Actually, socialism is gonna happen in the impoverished world, not in the developing nation, unlike what Marx said. And he said because the thing is that Marx didn't understand the contradiction of imperialism. Imperialism came because of capitalism, but imperialism didn't exist in the time of Marx, right? So in the time of Lenin, imperialism exists, and Lenin starts to say, so basically like the developing nations, like the United States, they have to expand their capital, they exploit the developing worlds. You know what I mean? These developing worlds are exploited, they're more likely to turn towards revolution. You know what I mean? So like that's what I'm saying is that, see, it's not what Marx says, it's what's according to our conditions. Like example, like Soviet socialism is different from Cuban socialism, even though they were both under the USSR and you can like claim that. But like an example, like Chinese socialism is still different from Soviet socialism. Like they had their beefs actually. It's called like the Sino-Soviet split. And like what we have in North Korea, it's called Juche. Like and what we had in like Bolivia, like Hugo Chavez and stuff like that, we have Bolivarian socialism. So like there's a bunch of different. It all depends on the conditions, because we say it depends like on the like example. You know how like in Cuba they use Jose Marti as like their figure in communism, and they use like it's kind of like socialism with Jose Marti characteristics. You know what I mean? Because it's embedded with the Cuban thought. You know what I mean? And with China they did the same thing. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like it has an engagement with the culture. You know what I mean?
Right. So what leader do you end up finding yourself resonating with their thoughts the most?
Bro, definitely like as a Cuban American, I definitely fuck with like the whole Cuban Revolution, and I fuck with Latin America as a whole. So I deeply like in my heart like exists like fucking like the Bolivarian movement as well. So like definitely Hugo Chavez and just all the leftist movements at that time, like Lula and Evo Morales and stuff like that. Even though like they're not really considered like Marxist Leninists, like what I follow, what I subscribe to, I still like it a lot. Like I feel like Hispanic nationalism is like It's important, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, and you never hear about people like Simon Bolivar or Jose Marti in your like English. I mean, in the classrooms you take here in America. You never learn any of that. You know what I mean? I mean now, like right now with Ron DeSantis, now we're about to not even learn about slavery and shit like that. So you already know with like like that shit's horrible. You know what I mean? But
Well, Ron DeSantis, he's not removing slavery being taught. It's just
of course,
race theory.
but of course, but like critical race theory. Like there's first of all, there's nothing wrong with critical race theory, but second of all, like he calls it like it's like communist indoctrination and all this stuff.
Misinformation.
Yeah. But the thing is that like it isn't. First of all, like critical race theory really just is like a historical interpretation through like the lens of like black people and like oppressed people, you know what I mean? Which is true, you know what I mean? Because first of all, like education in general has always been taught by the lenses of the imperialists and by the ruling class, and that's why like even in your history classes they teach you that like Cuba is a bad place, the Soviet Union was a bad place because it's in the eyes of the imperialist country, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're gonna tell you that socialism is bad. Like if you even take an economics course in like high school, like when you talk about Karl Marx and communism, it's like very vague, you know what I mean? They don't really tell you anything, and it's like, oh, this didn't work, it was tried, whatever. China still kind of does it, you know what I mean? That's what they tell you, you know what I mean?
So, do you agree with the way that China's running the country right now?
I mean, like, like we can get into the whole like China debate and like the dilemmas of like China and stuff like that.
I mean, really, this podcast is really about you.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
it's not.
But no, I do hold. But look, like, as an individual, I do hold like solidarity with the Chinese Revolution and the Chinese government. Like, I do think like, okay, so first of all, China is a beautiful place. I'm gonna say that. Like, China is super beautiful, and the imperialists want you to hate China, but bro, like the United States has literally they've engaged in 11 wars since the 19th century, and China has only gone into 3. So we don't want like the warmongering with China and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just BS. You know what I mean? That shit's bullshit. Like that is bullshit. Like that's just the imperialists wanting you to fucking be afraid of China, and now they want you to be afraid of Russia because they don't want you to point at the capitalists here who exploit you every day, who steal your surplus every day. You know what I mean? And like, dude, like the Chinese people, they chose socialism during the revolution, and that's their, like, all countries have the right to self-determination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And America, they don't follow that because they're an imperialist country and they try to overthrow those countries. So I respect the sovereignty of China. And of course, I respect the sovereignty of Cuba and even countries like the DPRK and stuff like that in Vietnam, like, of course. But yeah, like those things are like, there's a lot to go on to that. But yeah. And like I've talked about like Maoism in my music, and I have a song called Maoist, and I've talked about like Maoist ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, like I support it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot to be said that we can't really get into into however long we're gonna stretch the interview into. But there is a lot. You know what I mean? And like what I would say is that for anybody who like is super like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like is to just like look into it. You know what I mean? Look into the history of socialism. Like today is May 1st and it's International Workers' Day, and like a lot of this day is literally was kind of like struggled by like the working people, the toiling masses who like actually turned towards socialism in a lot of countries. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I mean, we have our own spin on it, Labor Day, right?
Yeah, Labor Day. Yeah, no, of course. Like, the thing is that
so you don't really agree with the way that America's ran?
No. Like the West, like the thing is it's just capitalism. Like obviously, like the West in general, like Germany, France, etc. Any like capitalist nation is following, and any nation that also is just like being like that is tailing the United States, such as like a country right now, which is going to be super controversial, like Ukraine and stuff like that, which is trying to join NATO and stuff like that, and we have a lot of we have a lot of like dilemmas of what is going on in Russia and Ukraine. You know what I mean? But the West it's an imperialist nation though. Like there's been 56 military interventions in Latin America. You know what I mean? Only in like the past like 20 years. You know what I mean? They've like literally tried to overturn like democratically elected presidents like Hugo Chavez, which you can like say things about Cuba, maybe about their electoral system not being super democratic, but you can never say that about something like Venezuela. At least you can say it now, but when Hugo Chavez was first elected, like he had no power, and that's the thing though, like Venezuela was not a socialist state. Like he was a reformist almost, kind of like a democratic socialist, but like kind of like more radical. So like 75% of the industry was privatized under Chavez. So it wasn't like Cuba where it was really everything was state owned. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot, like the Venezuelan companies literally used to hold the food, not because they didn't want to sell it to the government because they couldn't make profits. You know what I mean? And that's because those companies were serving the imperialist interest. You know what I mean? So I can't support an imperialist country. You know, that's why I can't support the West. You know, that's why. Like, you can say the problems of Cuba, but Cuba has no chemical weapons, no biological weapons, no nuclear weapons, and they don't invade the sovereignty of other countries. You know what I mean? But the United States does. You know, and yeah.
And how do you think how do your parents support your beliefs?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a developing thing. Both of my mom was born here. My dad is Cuban. My dad is kind of he's kind of leftist, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not like a Marxist or socialist or communist or nothing like that. Like, we get into our little dilemmas. But the thing is that, you know, I'm not really just a socialist, like, I like in my head or in my ideas, but like, I'm a practical Marxist, so I organize and I do things in my community and stuff like that, and I try to engage in the revolutionary struggle. So like, there's really no way.
And
you know what I mean?
How do those like organized parties, I guess, like how do they go about it? Do you guys just like do you guys like get shit faced, or do you guys actually sit down and
no, sometimes we get shit faced and sometimes we work, you know what I mean? But we're always working, you know what I mean? Like building a movement and a mass movement is a process, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the feds over here in Florida are crazy. That's all I can really say. I can't really say a lot of things like with organizing, but like even in like during like after the BLM riots and stuff like that, like a protest like that holds more than 3 people is like can be considered a riot down here in Florida nowadays and stuff like that. You can't feed homeless people without a permit. There's a bunch of stuff, and that was added after COVID because they said it was like for like sanitary reasons. It was never overturned. You know what I mean?
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? And like it's wild, but like, and also with like we were speaking with HB 99 and the removing of critical race theory, they're also removing like college majors. They're removing people's like what people are studying. They're removing like clubs and study groups. Like I know that they removed like the Marxist study group in FIU after the Ukraine and Russia like conflict. Like they had like a Marxist reading group that I think was like they ended up having to like get rid of it. You know what I mean? So like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like
So you're definitely in favor for like freedom of speech.
Yeah,
like,
of course. No, hell yeah. Like I'm also like we can talk about like, you know, because, you know, I obviously, like I said, I respect like the self-determination of countries, but obviously I don't support like reactionary countries or like backwards nations. Like I wouldn't like if I see like a nation turning towards fascism, I would say that, you know, like that's because the thing is that fascism is not done by the will of the people, but socialism is. And we can talk a lot about that, but yeah. So yeah, and of course I'm pro free speech. Like, bro, like you don't understand. Like free speech here is right now with this whole TikTok thing that's going down, bro. I watch a bunch of like outside source media because obviously I don't follow Western imperialist media.
Right.
So I have to watch like stuff like Del Sur, which is like Latin American, and like now with this whole like they're trying. It's not just about TikTok. It's all like outside media. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
Like it's not just TikTok.
Yeah, they keep saying that TikTok is the first app.
Oh hell no,
I mean,
bro.
That's been around.
No, and it plays into their Western interests. It's like, bro, just block out all of the Chinese and all the Latin like markets, and then you know you can like have like YouTube and like Google control everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. But we love YouTube, so you know. What I mean?
No, I mean.
Yeah,
I'm not hopping on Rumble.
Yeah, no, we love YouTube. I would
have you hopped on Rumble?
What do you mean?
Like
it's like another third party.
It's like a conservative.
Oh wow, really?
It's bad.
Damn, that's horrible. Yeah. That's horrible.
It's
Damn.
But
yeah, no, I mean, shit. There's a lot of things though. Like a lot of media that people don't know is like right wing and stuff like that. You can go like on Reddit, and half of that shit is like incel content and shit like that. It's like Groyper stuff. It's a pipeline to like fascism and like right wing shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, Twitter itself is like it's kind of. I would say like in a few years it'll be kind of like Reddit.
Yeah.
I like Twitter.
Yeah, because with Elon Musk and shit. Yeah, I mean, bro, like you see though, like you know, like we can. I don't know. It's just. It's funny. I was reading this book the other day, which is like it's an interview with like this guy. He goes to like talk to Stalin, and they're interviewing him, and he tells them like, oh, but not all the billionaires are bad. You know what I mean? Like look at like during his time, he says, look at like Henry Ford and stuff like that. Like he's a good billionaire, but they're not, bro. Like Stalin is like, bro, people. He throws his workers on the streets half of the time when they don't have no jobs. You know, and like Elon Musk, he comes from inherited wealth. Like his dad used to own an emerald fucking mining thing. You know what I mean? and like with that whole like Neuralink shit that he's involved in, bro. Like that shit's all over the place, dog.
I like Elon though. I like Elon, but I don't agree with him having that much power.
Yeah.
I think I just like the image that he portrays.
Yeah, no.
He's like funny and shit like that, but obviously like behind public eyes, I know he's like, you know. I mean, Neuralink is a crazy invention, but someone was gonna fucking do it, bro. Yeah. Like someone at some point.
No, of course. I'm not saying that Elon came from the heavens with Neuralink. You know what I mean? Like hell no, there would have been another fucking crazy motherfucker like him doing that shit. Like that's like because bro, look back to Marx. Inevitable. No, because back to Marxism, it's because the material conditions make people. Your conditions do. Like Stalin. If he died, there would have been another Stalin. If Hitler died, there would have been another Hitler because the conditions that created Hitler created him. You know what I mean? Like fascism was already gonna happen in Germany. Okay. You know what I mean? There would have been another leader of the Nazi Party. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean is by saying that is that like Elon Musk obviously doesn't drop from the heavens with Neuralink. There would have been another guy in his spot doing the same thing because he's a product of his conditions. Mm-hmm. There's another capitalist like Elon Musk all over the world. You know what I mean?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
So okay. So what would be your ideal utopia?
Okay, like, see, I can't say that though, because like I'm not a utopian. I can only say that like, see, like, because a lot of people tell me.
I'm glad you say that.
Yeah, a lot of people
That's
say.
Realistic.
Yeah, no, a lot of people say like, oh, define communism, right? Yeah. That's a fucking problem, right? Because like, dude, everybody can say anything, but I like to say that communism is the movement that actually abolishes the current state of things. That's like the real nice philosophical. Nice, like bumping your chest, like you know. But you know, like obviously, people and like when they think about it, they're like, oh, like a moneyless, classless, stateless society. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which obviously, those are like that's the goal. That's communism. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But like we like to say, like static definitions are bad for science. You know what I mean? And like how I said, we call ourselves like scientific socialists, not utopian socialists. Right. So it's hard to like when you make something static, like a definition, you say communism is this. And then like but people are struggling to build communism and doesn't match those definitions. It's like, then what is socialism? Like you can say, oh, socialism is worker control. It's like what we call the dictatorship of the proletariat. It's when the workers have control of the state. Or you can have or some people say, no, like socialism is when capitalism is abolished. And some people say, no, like socialism is like the will of the masses as a movement that is trying to change the current state of things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways to define socialism, but you know it when you see it. Like for real, like you can see it. Like
is there even a true socialist?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like I would consider a bunch of countries socialist because they're building socialism. But
like true, like real.
Yeah, like that they're built, because remember, socialism is just like contradictions still exist under socialism, meaning that like the conditions of capitalism might still exist under socialism. You know what I mean? Like example, like we can just live in a socialist society right now, but example, you could be my boss and like now you have to like work with me and you're like, man, fuck this, bro. Like, and then you like low-key go to meetings like after this, reactionary meetings, and you guys are trying to reestablish capitalism. You know what I mean? Okay. Like there's always people trying to reestablish the old order of things during the construction of socialism. There's always contradictions within socialism, like such as like imperialism. Like when socialism happens, the imperialist nations come try to fuck you over. You know what I mean? And like there's a bunch of things. That's like the main, like we say that's the main contradiction of our current era, imperialism. Like Lenin says that, like that the current contradiction in like our current state, our geopolitical state is imperialism. You know what I mean? So yeah, like
so where do you think you'd be right now if we were under a communist?
Yeah, like right now, like in full communism, like we already like communism has been established. Yeah. First of all, like there wouldn't be no homelessness. There would be free housing. Everybody would have housing. There would be no unemployment. Everybody would have a means to work. You know what I mean? And healthcare and like necessities would be like accessible. There you would have workers. You would have like tremendous workers' rights. It would be like a worker state. You know what I mean? Things. Right. It's for the workers by the workers. You know what I mean? Like it's to play into the interest of the workers. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. Like capitalism is to play into the interest of the capitalists. Socialist is about playing into the interest of the workers. You know what I mean? But like everybody will be employed. Everybody will be able to make a wage. Therefore, they'll be able to buy goods. You know what I mean? There would obviously be like in the Soviet Union, you had a lot of like social like infrastructure, like a lot of parks, a lot of way like I know you see like in every communist country you have like Red Square, Tiananmen Square, you know, all these places where like there's social gatherings. You know what I mean? You would also have like what we call cadres, which people who work for like the socialist process to help build socialism, you know what I mean? And during communism, since there's no money, there would be like work. You work literally just because you want to work. You know what I mean? It's not because you have a wage. Therefore, all work is like not. You don't have like an alienated experience with work.
So what would happen if someone doesn't want to work?
Like it all depends though. Like
so I mean, because if they would be.
But I mean, if somebody, what happens if somebody doesn't want to work in capitalism though? You become homeless.
Yeah, you become homeless.
Yeah. Nah. The thing is that like. In capitalism, unemployment is a thing because you have to have people unemployed because you need to keep like the interest for like laborers up. You know what I mean? Like then you have more people who are fiending for a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean, I know in Marxism, how do you call this? Like his philosophy is how do you call this? Fuck. Oh my god, I'm on a blank. That you work for something that you enjoy.
Yeah, of course. Right? Yeah, like.
So what if someone can't find something
that they enjoy? No, I mean, bro. I mean, first of all, I would say that like you probably those are like social problems that are also like individual problems and stuff like that. Like where you see yourself in society and stuff like that. But I feel like those people like during the construction of socialism, like you see yourself like you're like I want to build socialism, right? You know what I mean? You're like, I want to build socialism. Like some people say, like in the Soviet Union, like people created things and they never got to like be the owner of the idea. Right. Like example, the guy who created the AK-47, and like they asked him, they're like, "Are you ever upset because you didn't get to patent the AK-47?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "No, because I built it for socialist society. You know what I mean? Not for interest or profits. You know."
So I think I'm gonna jump ahead of myself, and this is gonna be kind of a hypothetical, but. I keep telling my girlfriend that I feel like we're about to hit a new industrial revolution with AI.
Yeah,
like in the next, like we're gonna live through this in our lifetime in the next 8 to 10 years. So like now I feel like if that does happen, like I think none of this matters. Like
okay. No, yeah, I mean, but the thing is that what do you think that the capitalist is gonna remove your job with like AI and then like allow you to live like workless?
No, of course not. No. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like things like that, like it just won't, like unemployment, like there's just gonna be a crazy, like how do you?
Yeah. Of course. No. Yeah. That's crisis.
You can't use like in an idea. If you were, to take over the country, you can't use communism. You can't use socialism for any of that.
Like what are you talking about? Like you're talking about like the impending like industrial revolution and how would communism help us out of there?
Right.
Bro, I think it could, bro, because the thing is that bro, like it's really complicated, but. The thing about capitalism is that the structure of commodities goes by this, right? It's a formula. It's called MCM, money, commodity, money, right? So you start off with money, you buy like productive materials like a factory or raw materials, stuff like that, and then you use that to make more money, right? Everything is like that, right? So all commodities are made with that type of like structure. Example, why the heck do you think that you have to take the pill's not a cure? The pill, you got to take another pill, you got to take another pill, because it's running through that MCM process. It's going with money, commodity, money. Therefore, like since it goes by that process, there's no way to make things that are actually like for the people. So what I'm saying is under a socialist society, it's about like content and form. It's kind of philosophical. Like AI in the capitalist society has a relation to capitalism. AI in the socialist society will have a relation to socialism. You know what I mean? And we'll try to make like AI help the interests of the working class. Right. You know? But
AI is not like free thinking.
Yeah, no, right now. I mean, but AI right now is possessed by the capitalists, by the imperialists. They're the ones that own the money to have the forces to produce AI. They own the data. They own the fact, like the wherever the fuck, like I guess like in like on old school Marxist sense, it'll be a factory. Now in the neo like technological age, it'll be like I guess like a center, like a computer center or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it works in our favor as of right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, down the road, I mean.
But we've lost our freedoms, like, as, like, internet users with, like, net neutrality and, like, how I'm talking about right now with TikTok in China and stuff like that. Like, it's, like, and that's because, like, you can turn back the wheel of history 100 years, and if you're still going, like, in the capitalist direction, it's going to go like that every time. Every time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not until, like, the people get power that they'll change the direction of, like, any process, whether it's AI, whether it's like impending nuclear war, whether it's like whether it's whatever social dilemma is at that time, you know what I mean? So
I mean, history repeats itself regardless of what fucking whether we're under capitalism or not.
Yeah, no, that's why
Yeah,
people
yeah,
say
yeah.
like, oh, like didn't why hasn't socialism stopped,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, just like I say, like history repeats itself, and of course, when the imperialists continue to have the world order, just like how they did during the Cold War, and now they still do, of course, history repeats
Yeah.
itself. We're under the same domination, like it's still imperialism. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just it's taking different faces. You know what I mean? It's not Ronald Reagan, now it's Joe Biden, and now it's or whatever. You know what I mean? Like. It looks different. Like it's a little more progressive. It's progressive imperialism.
Right.
Yeah. Like yeah.
So how do you call this? So if you could live in a country.
Yeah.
Where like?
Oh, where
like,
would I go?
Yeah.
Where would China. Definitely China.
China.
Yeah, but I also like Russia's not a socialist country, but I'd also like to live in Russia.
Russia.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because I like the whole like. You know, there's a lot of like Soviet architecture left. It's beautiful to me. You know what I mean? Like but I also love Russian culture in general and stuff like that too. So
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on a blank.
Yeah, I wanted to originally also talk about like just like rap music and like rap music and revolution. So like I was talking about like a while ago about like history is told through the imperialist lens, right?
Yeah.
And right now like rap music, it was originally in like the proletariat hand. Like okay. Look, I'll say a little funny thing. You know how people like to say Tupac is in Cuba?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Tupac's mom actually did go to Cuba. This is a fact because Cuba's mom was part of the Black Panther Party and she was accused of the murder of a police officer and she was granted political asylum by Cuba. And so were many Black Panthers. You know what I mean?
So that's where the...
Yeah, that's where the whole controversy comes. And also Tupac was a member of the Youth Communist League. He was a Communist Party member. So, a lot of people talk about like Tupac was plugged in with the Black Panthers and stuff like that. And they were. He was a revolutionary. And a lot of rap music was like that. Like rap music originally was in the hands of like the people. You know what I mean? Like Tupac talks about he talks about social problems. He also talked about, and so did like people like also grand figures during that time, like people like Bob Marley, who were kind of like anti-West, anti-imperialist almost. Like he literally has a song called War where he says like that it's racism that's a main contradiction, and until that's abolished, we're not gonna have anything else. You know what I mean? So we had a lot of revolutionary figures where music belonged into the people's hand, but now music now it's in the industry's hand. You know what I mean? And now it plays the capitalist purpose. It plays into the interest of like reinforcing misogyny, into reinforcing hustle culture, into reinforcing drug culture, into reinforcing fucking up your communities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bro, it's so fucked up that right now with this YSL scenario, that dude has so much money, and instead of putting that shit into the community, he decided to flip that shit by racketeering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, because there's no socialist consensus in America. Everything is like it's all about like where can I get my interest by, you know what I mean? And like it's like there's nobody else doing it. A lot of people are like, hey bro, that guy's not gonna save him, why should I? Like fuck that, I'm gonna just live my life, you know what I mean?
I mean, but with rap music, you're saying that it's controlled now and not controlled then. I think that just goes for anything that's coming up, man.
Yeah, no, but I would say that
like someone just decided to start. Hey, like let's go and make record labels.
Yeah,
and then those record labels started having more power than the artists.
Yeah, of course, that's the thing though. Yeah. The record label started to have more, but it's like that. Like the capitalist also has more power than the worker because he says like, I give you like the guy's like I give you the stage, I give you or I give you the studio, you record your songs, but like, bro, if I'm the artist, you don't have no nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they think that they own the artist. They think they're more important than the artist. You know what I mean? Right. And also, they only grab artists that really like that plays into their social picture of what makes them profits. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. And like, bro, like in my opinion, I feel like Tupac and Biggie Smalls, like, bro, that shit was CIA as hell, bro. Yeah? Of course. Like there was definitely like a lot of CIA involvement in that. Like in that time, like it was those were like tense times in history. You know what I mean? But like how I said, his mom was a Black Panther Party member, was literally given political asylum in Cuba. Like, you know what I mean? Like the CIA was watching him.
If you don't mind me asking, so has your girlfriend been with you before you started diving into his beliefs?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years, so she's basically been there towards my whole development into being a Marxist.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't know if you mind. What do you think of that? Like, do you also believe in it, or do you have your own? Like, do you guys mesh together? Does it matter if she doesn't believe in it?
She comes to me to my meetings all the time and stuff like that. She's helped towards like build stuff with me. I'm obviously way more engaged into it than she is. But she's like she's just as progressive as me, I would say. She's also a socialist like me. I'm just a lot more passionate about what I do. So yeah, I don't know. I would say that.
That's cool. I had to ask that because I've never it's sometimes people get the image of this and it's just like one lonely guy in the room, but it's two people. And
I mean, like, no, heck yeah. I mean, like, everybody has a place in the revolutionary struggle. Just like she's put me on into like different forms of like feminist theory and like reading like that, and how I can also like how I can think more about like the women's struggle in relation to communism and socialism and stuff like that. Like being a guy, I can just be like naturally backwards because of my conditions, you know. So like she plays a part.
Hold you down.
She helps me all the time, and I read with her all the time, and even when she's sleepy and tired and she doesn't want to read, I take it out and we like start reading, and like
it's cool.
But yeah,
that's cute.
It's a whole process. I'm always, and like the thing is like I only watch like socialist films and stuff like that, so like we watch a lot of like weird films and shit like that, so that's cool. It's cool.
So you don't watch?
Not because like there's a lot of like obscure, like especially like French postmodernist socialist films. Even though I'm not a postmodernist, they're fun to watch and they're weird.
So actually that's kind of cool. I want to talk about that. So you're not subscribed to anything that's coming out from the West. Like you don't listen or you don't watch.
Not well. Like let me think. I gotta think. Let me think. I mean, I listen to like artists that are like that are in the West and stuff like that. But like, I don't consume any form of like mainstream media at all. I don't. Sometimes I'll go to a movie theaters just because I'm like, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just to like do something.
But for the most part, you're
I won't. I'll be plugged out of like a lot of like new shows that people watch and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Unless it's like really big, like it becomes like something super big, like a movie like Bird Box or some shit everybody talks about, or like whatever the fuck it is. I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, it's the bullshit we on, and then I'll be like, all right, cool. I'll watch it sometimes. It depends, bro. It depends. But like, I don't know. Like since I got ADHD and like I have like when I'm not like working on myself, I be like, damn, what am I doing with life, bro? I'm like, if I be watching like bullshit, I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I doing? I'm out here watching South Park right now. I should be building socialism, dog. Not just like, but I should be like, what am I doing right now? I gotta be at least reading my theory or in the studio. Like when I'm not in the studio, like I get so fucking depressed. It's incredible, dude. Like I literally need to be in the studio or like doing something, cause
All right, that's cool. I feel like we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
I did want to ask because I did see you. I know. Do you support LGBT? Or?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So how does that play in? I mean, like it doesn't. Yeah, I don't think it's Stalin or.
No, okay.
So it's just straight you.
Okay, no, but like the GDR was another socialist society, like East Germany, and like like homosexuality does not stand outside of socialism. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like a bunch of like LGBTQ like comrades and stuff like that are in the movement right now. Like I know a bunch of like trans and LGBTQ and queer people who I engage with, and like we help like build socialism. Like there's a bunch of like queer socialists. Like
So you just accept it, like I guess this is like the Western spin on.
Yeah, no, but of course, like I mean, actually like homosexuality was made like legal in like 1920 something in the Soviet Union, and like it just wasn't like gay marriage wasn't made legal, but like homosexuality was very normal. Like a lot of people had a bunch of gay friends and stuff like that. It was never like seen like, oh wow, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like super like horrible, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, like shout out all the homosexual comrades or whatever, and like the LGBT community as a whole, like bro, bro, like you feel me? Stonewall riots, that's just based, you know what I mean? It's cool.
I mean, I think this is a great episode. I have nothing else to add on.
Bro, awesome.
And even though I don't like fully, we don't mesh like with belief wise. I still respect you as a person. That's usually what I try and achieve in these videos.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, that was thank you, Treezy.
Awesome, bro. It was awesome speaking with you for sure.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video and take care.
Oh yeah, you already know.